President Donald J. Trump.
My fellow Republicans, President Trump asked me to speak to this convention in the name of unity. It was a gracious invitation, and I was happy to accept. I'll start by making one thing perfectly clear. Donald Trump has my strong endorsement, period. Our country is at a critical moment. We have a choice to make. For more than a year, I said a vote for Joe Biden is a vote for President Kamala Harris. After seeing the debate, everyone knows it's true. If we have 4 more years of Biden or a single day of Harris, our country will be badly worse off. For the sake of our nation, we have to go with Donald Trump. But there's more to it than that. We should acknowledge that there are some Americans who don't agree with Donald Trump 100% of the time. I happen to know some of them. And I want to speak to them tonight. My message to them is simple. You don't have to agree with Trump 100% of the time to vote for him. Take it from me, I haven't always agreed with President Trump. But we agree more often than we disagree. We agree on keeping America strong. We agree on keeping America safe. And we agree that Democrats have moved so far to the left that they're putting our freedoms in danger. I'm here tonight because we have a country to save. And a unified Republican Party is essential for saving her. For those who have some doubts about President Trump, I want to tell you a few things about the Commander-in-Chief I know and worked with. As ambassador to the United Nations, I had a front row seat to his national security policies. We sure could use those again. Think about it. When Barack Obama was president, Vladimir Putin invaded Crimea. With Joe Biden as president, Putin invaded all of Ukraine. But when Donald Trump was president, Putin did nothing. No invasions, no wars. That was no accident. Putin didn't attack Ukraine because he knew Donald Trump was tough. A strong president doesn't start wars. A strong president prevents wars. Then look at the Middle East. Every problem in that part of the world can be laid at the feet of Iran. The dictators who chant death to America are the bankrollers and weapons suppliers for Hamas and Hezbollah. They're behind the barbaric massacres and the hostage-taking. Once again, compare Trump and Biden. Trump got us out of the insane Iran nuclear deal. He imposed the toughest sanctions ever on Iran. And he eliminated the arch-terrorist Qasem Soleimani. Iran was too weak to start any wars. They knew Trump meant business, and they were afraid. And then there's Joe Biden. He lifted the sanctions. He begged them to get back into the nuclear deal. He surrendered in Afghanistan. He sent every possible sign of weakness. Even now, while Hamas is still holding Americans hostage, Biden is pressuring Israel instead of the terrorists. Between Israel and Hamas, Donald Trump is clear about who is our friend and who is our enemy. Then look at the border. It's the single biggest threat Americans face. Under Joe Biden, migrants are coming into our country by the thousands every day. We have no idea who they are, where they end up, or what they plan to do. And let me remind you, Kamala had one job, and that was to fix the border. Now imagine her in charge of the entire country. Under Donald Trump, we didn't have the border disaster we have today, and we won't when he is president again. I was proud to serve America in President Trump's cabinet. And I'll tell you something you won't hear from the critics. He appreciated advice and input. Americans were well served by his presidency, even if they didn't agree with him on all things. Now, to my fellow Republicans, we must not only be a unified party, we must also expand our party. We are so much better when we are bigger. We are stronger when we welcome people into our party who have different backgrounds and experiences. And right now, we need to be strong to save America. This is a defining moment, not only for our party, but for our country. Our fellow Americans are fearful right now. Families are suffering from inflation and wages that don't keep up with prices. Young people are being indoctrinated to think our country is racist and evil. The Jewish community is facing an obscene rise in anti-Semitism. Too many minorities are trapped in communities devastated by crime. Our foreign enemies win when they see Americans hate each other. They see that today, whether it's on college campuses or in a field in Butler, Pennsylvania. But we can conquer those fears with strength and unity. No president can fix all of our problems alone. We have to do this together. America has an amazing ability to self-correct. In this moment, we have a chance to put aside our differences and focus on what unites us and strengthens our country. Let us join together as a party. Let us come together as a people, as one country, strong and proud. Let us show our children and the world that even on our worst day, we are blessed to live in America.
My fellow Republicans, let's send Joe Biden back to his basement and let's send Donald Trump back to the White House. Life was more affordable when Donald Trump was president. Our border was safer under the Trump administration, and our country was respected when Donald Trump was our commander-in-chief. Joe Biden has failed this nation. As a veteran, I was appalled when 13 of our service members were killed in Afghanistan due to Joe Biden's dereliction of duty. As a citizen, as a husband, and as a father, I am alarmed that the current President of the United States lacks the capability to discharge the duties of his office. Our enemies do not confine their designs to between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. We need a commander-in-chief who can lead 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. America cannot afford 4 more years of a weekend at Bernie's presidency. But let's be honest. Let's be honest here. Biden is just a figurehead. He's a tool for imposing a leftist agenda on the American people. They support open borders, allowing millions and millions of illegal aliens to pour into our country and to burden our communities, but just don't send any to Martha's Vineyard, then they get really upset. They have unleashed progressive prosecutors across our nation who care more about coddling criminals than about protecting their own communities. They use the unelected bureaucracy to impose their will on us without our consent, and they weaponize political power to target their political opponents like they've done to our own nominee. They want to ban gas automobiles, eliminate Second Amendment rights, and impose gender ideology on everyone from our infantrymen to kindergartners. They stand for DEI, which really means division, exclusion, and indoctrination, and it is wrong. They mandated that you show proof of a COVID vaccine to go to a restaurant, but they oppose requiring proof of citizenship to cast a vote. They can't even define what a woman is. Now, Donald Trump stands in their way, and he stands up for America. Donald Trump has been demonized. He's been sued. He's been prosecuted, and he nearly lost his life. We cannot let him down, and we cannot let America down. It is the values of this Republican Party that reflect our nation's founding principles. We believe schools should educate, not indoctrinate. We stand for parents' rights, including universal school choice. We support law and order, not rioting and disorder. We seek a strong, focused United States military, not one distracted by a social agenda. We reject entrenched political class, and we demand term limits for members of Congress. We stand for fiscal sanity, for low taxes, and for reduced debt. We seek to reclaim the constitutional government as envisioned by our founding fathers by bringing the administrative state to heel once and for all. We believe that you must be a citizen in order to vote, and that photo ID should be required before casting a ballot. We stand for strong borders and believe that our nation must have a shared civic culture, and we oppose any immigration that stands apart or in contrast to our American values. We believe in the principles articulated in the Declaration of Independence that our rights come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of the Almighty, including the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, none of this is easy, but it can be done. For decades, my home state saw elections determined by razor-thin margins. Today, due to bold leadership, the Democratic Party lies in ruins. The left is in retreat. Freedom reigns supreme. The woke mind virus is dead, and Florida is a solid Republican state. Now, electing Donald Trump gives us the chance to do this all across America. And we have a responsibility to step up and make it happen. We have a responsibility to preserve what George Washington called the sacred fire of liberty. This was a fire that burned in Independence Hall in 1776 when 56 men pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to establish this nation. It's a fire that burned at a cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, when our nation's first Republican president pledged this nation to a new birth of freedom. It's a fire that burned at the foot of the Berlin Wall in 1987, when our nation's 40th president stood in front of that wall and said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." This is not a responsibility we should fear. It's a responsibility we should welcome. After all, if not us, who? And if not now, when? Let's make the 45th President of the United States the 47th President of the United States. Let's elect Republicans up and down the ballot, and let's heed the call of our party's nominee to fight, fight, fight for these United States. Thank you.
It's good to be back in Milwaukee. This time last year, I was a candidate for U.S. President, and I'm proud to say that I achieved the impossible, which is that most of you actually know how to say my name by now. So thank you for that. It's good to be back. We're in the middle of a national identity crisis right now. Faith, patriotism, hard work, and family have disappeared, only to be replaced by race, gender, sexuality, and climate. But we're not going to win this election just by criticizing the other side. We're going to win this by standing for our own vision of who we really are. What does it mean to be a Republican in the year 2024? What does it mean to be an American in the year 2024? It means we believe in the ideals of 1776. It means we believe in merit, that you get ahead in this country not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions. It means we believe in the rule of law, and I say this as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. That is why we will seal the southern border on day one. Thank you. It means the people who we elect to run the government ought to be the ones who actually run the government, not unelected bureaucrats in the deep state. These are not black ideas or white ideas. They are not even Democrat ideas or Republican ideas. They are American ideas that we fought a revolution to secure. And the man who will revive these ideals in the United States of America is your next president, the 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. If you want to seal the border, vote Trump. If you want to restore law and order in this country, vote Trump. If you want to reignite the economy in this country, vote Trump. If you want to revive national pride in this country, vote Trump. If you want to make America great again, vote Trump. But there is one more reason I'm going to ask you to vote Trump, and it's the most important one. It's the one the media won't talk about, but it's the truth. Donald Trump is the president who will actually unite this country, not through empty words, but through action. Because you know what? Success is unifying. Excellence is unifying. That's who we are as Americans. That's who we've always been. To those of you watching this at home tonight, I'd like to deliver a message that the media doesn't want you to hear from the Republican Party. Our message to black Americans is this. The media has tried to convince you for decades that Republicans don't care about your communities, but we do. We want for you what we want for every American. Safe neighborhoods, clean streets, good jobs, a better life for your children, and a justice system that treats everyone equally, regardless of your skin color and regardless of your political beliefs. Our message to every legal immigrant in this country is this. You're like my parents. You deserve the opportunity to secure a better life for your children in America. But our message to illegal immigrants is also this. We will return you to your country of origin, not because you're all bad people, but because you broke the law. And the United States of America was founded on the rule of law. Our message to millennials, speaking as one myself, yes, it's true. Our government sold us a false bill of goods with the Iraq War and the 2008 financial crisis, loading up our national debt that falls on our generation's shoulders, telling us that if we took out college loans, we'd somehow get a head start on the American dream when it hasn't worked out that way. But we can't just be cynical about our country, because the United States of America is still the last best hope that we have, and we deserve a better class of politician, one who actually tells us the truth, even if it comes with some mean tweets from time to time. And our message to Gen Z is this: you're going to be the generation that actually saves this country. You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative. Say you want to get married, have kids, teach them to believe in God and pledge allegiance to their country. Because you know what? Fear has been infectious in this country, but courage can be contagious too. That too is what it means to be an American. And you know what? If you're at home and you disagree with everything I just said, our message to you is this: we will still defend to the death your right to say it, because that is who we are as Americans. We are the country where we can disagree like hell and still get together at the dinner table at the end of it. That is the America I know. That is the America we miss. We do not have to be ancient Rome. We don't have to be this nation in decline. We can still be a nation in our ascent. A nation whose best days, not in some fake politician way, but in a true way, a nation whose best days are actually still ahead of us. Still on our way to that shining city on a hill, that country where no matter who you are, or where your parents came from, or what your skin color is, or how long your last name is, that you will still get ahead in this country with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication, and that you know what? You are free to speak your mind at every step of the way. That is the American dream. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what reunited us after the Civil War. That is what won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream over group identity and victimhood and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, not China, is going to defeat us. That is what American exceptionalism is all about. And that is what we will revive this November when we send Donald J. Trump back to the White House.
Last year, we lost my beloved sister, Rachel. She went for a walk in one of our family's favorite places. This beautiful trail was to us a safe place where we pushed our babies in strollers, where we walked together as a family, where my wife and I got married, near what would later become the spot where my sister's body was found. Rachel, a joyful, accomplished athlete and mother of 5, was raped and murdered by a suspected illegal immigrant. This was described as among the most brutal and violent offenses that has ever occurred in Harford County, Maryland history. Open borders are often portrayed as compassionate and virtuous. But there is nothing compassionate about allowing violent criminals into our country and robbing children of their mother. My sister's death was preventable,
The monster arrested for killing Rachel entered the U.S. unlawfully after killing a woman in El Salvador. Joe Biden and his designated border czar, Kamala Harris, opened our borders to him and others like him, empowering them to victimize the innocent. Yet, to this day, we have not heard from Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. They never apologized. But when Rachel was killed, President Trump called my family to offer his condolences. He wanted to meet with us. He cared. That is leadership. And we need real leadership back in the White House. What has gotten us through this unthinkable loss is our faith in Jesus Christ. And as brutal as the murder of my sister was, I pray that her killer will find Jesus Christ. For all the affected by senseless tragedy, I pray for peace, knowing that all things work together for good, to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. I pray that we hold worldly leaders accountable for safety and justice, for innocent people. I pray that we make our country safe and secure in the memory of my sister Rachel, who loved life. Thank you. God bless America. Good night.
What an amazing crowd, and what a great time it is to unite our party and to send President Donald Trump back to the White House. That's what we're going to do. But we're not just uniting as Republicans. We're uniting today as Americans in the wake of the assassination attempt on the life of President Trump. Everyone hear me clearly and listen to me at home and make no mistake. The House is conducting an immediate and thorough investigation of these tragic events. And that work has already begun. The American people deserve to know the truth, and we will ensure accountability. I promise you that. I promise you that. This has always been an important principle to us. We in the Republican Party are the law and order team. We always have been, and we always will be, the advocates for the rule of law. And we all know that that principle, as well as many others, is in serious jeopardy today. See, we've come to a moment in America where the basic things that we once took for granted are being openly challenged like never before. My friends, we are no longer just in a battle between two opposing political parties. We are, but it's not just ours versus D's anymore. We're now in the midst of a struggle between two completely different visions of who we are as Americans and what our country will be. The Republican Party stands for the foundational truths that made America the greatest nation in the history of the world. We are the most free, the most powerful, the most benevolent nation that has ever been. It's not even close. It's not even close. But we have no guarantee that this grand experiment in self-governance can endure unless we respond to the call to keep it. 248 years ago, we boldly proclaimed in our Declaration that all men are created equal, not born equal, created equal, and that we're endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. See, we understand that our rights do not come from government, they come from God. There's another thing that we recognize. We recognize that we are made in His image. And because of that, every single person has inestimable dignity and value. And your value is not related in any way to the color of your skin, what zip code you live in, where you come from, what your talents are, or what you can contribute to society. Your value is inherent because it is given to you by your Creator. That's what we stand for. I speak a lot about what I call the 7 core principles of American conservatism. What do we stand for as Republicans, they want to know? I think it boils down to a few things: individual freedom, limited government, the rule of law, peace through strength, fiscal responsibility, free markets, and human dignity. Indeed, those are the 7 core principles of American conservatism, but they're actually the core principles of our republic itself. And while they resonate in our hearts and in the hearts of most Americans, listen to me, the radical, woke, progressive left has disdain for those principles, all right? They have a very different vision for what America should become. They want to tear down those foundations and remold us into some sort of borderless, lawless, Marxist, socialist utopia. We're here to say, not on our watch. We will not allow that to happen. It was just 3 weeks ago that Kelly and I dropped off our oldest son at the Naval Academy. That's right. In 4 years, he'll graduate, and he'll join the 1.3 million active duty service members who bravely defend our country. We're so proud of Jack and all our children, but like most parents today, we're concerned about their future. America can't risk 4 more years of Joe Biden's weakness that has invited so much aggression by our enemies. We can't survive the dramatic increases in violence, crime, and drugs that the Democrats' policies have brought upon our communities. And we cannot allow the many millions of illegal aliens they've allowed to cross our borders to harm our citizens, drain our resources, or disrupt our elections. We will not allow it. My friends, we're watching the principles of faith, family, and freedom that once defined our nation now being trampled underfoot by the radical left. As President Trump raised his fist and gave a rally cry on Saturday, now is our time to fight, and we will. We're in a fateful battle of ideas, my friends, and we have to recognize that. But in this battle, and in November, the American people will reject the party of self-destruction, and they will elect the party of peace and prosperity and opportunity. The GOP will grow our House majority, we will take back the Senate, and we will return Donald J. Trump to the White House. And standing arm in arm, we will make America safe again. Listen, we reach out tonight to everyone watching at home. We invite all Americans who believe in the promise of our great nation to join us in this fateful battle. We can and we will reverse this current decline. We can restore our founding principles, and we can preserve this exceptional nation that God has entrusted to us, and what Abraham Lincoln referred to as the last best hope of man on the earth. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless our troops. And God bless America.
And before I get started, I want to say I have always been proud to stand with President Trump, but never have I been more proud than to stand with him right now, tonight. Not even an assassin's bullet could stop him. God Almighty intervened because America is one nation under God, and He is certainly not finished with President Trump. and our country is better for it. I am here tonight as America's youngest governor, the first woman to lead the great state of Arkansas. And most importantly, a mom to 3 amazing kids, Scarlett, Huck, George. When I was President Trump's White House press secretary, the best job, I got the chance to take my 4-year-old son, Huck, to Bring Your Kid to Work Day. Much like Jill now drags Joe to Bring Your Husband to Work Day. And while I was briefing the president on the upcoming event in the Oval Office, all of the kids who were attending that day gathered in the Rose Garden, getting ready to meet him. And we were walking out onto that beautiful, perfect colonnade. And I saw out of the corner of my eye that my son Huck was running full speed directly at the President of the United States. Being the gracious person he is, President Trump bent down to give him a big hug. And right in front of everyone, Huck sidestepped the president, completely ignoring him in front of everyone, and ran straight into my arms. For my 4-year-old son, the most powerful man in the world had nothing on his mom. But because he's the amazing man he is, President Trump didn't mind at all. After all, he's a dad to 5 unbelievable kids and a grandfather to 10. And while that story is certainly a special memory for my family, it's an even greater reminder why I support President Trump, not for me, not for him, but for my kids and for yours. Under President Trump, America was safer, the world was safer, and it felt like the next generation would have a chance at the American dream. President Trump did the job that Kamala won't and Joe Biden simply can't. When we're honest, every American knows that we were so much better off under President Trump. So tonight, I don't want to just speak about President Trump's successful policies. While there are many, I want to talk about the man that I know. When the president hired me, I was the first mom and only the 3rd woman to ever serve as the White House press secretary. And in that role, I endured relentless attacks from the left. I was insulted as a guest at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. My family was denied service and kicked out of a restaurant. And a parent at my 3-year-old son's preschool spit on my car. And in those moments, it was President Trump who defended me. And when an MSNBC host, the author of several books on empowering women, said I was unfit to be a mother, And another MSNBC host said I was vile, not even human, and that I should be choked. MSNBC, again, did nothing. But our president pulled me aside, looked me in the eye, and said, "Sarah, you're smart, you're beautiful, you're tough, and they attack you because you're good at your job. Never let them stop fighting." Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. That's the Donald Trump that I know. And that's the Donald J. Trump I will always respect. The left doesn't care about empowering women. Biden and Harris can't even tell you what a woman is. They only care about empowering themselves. But we have a president who believes in empowering every American and that our country is worth fighting for. For the last 4 years, Republican governors have been leading that fight and doing what Joe Biden refuses to do. We've deployed the National Guard to the border. We've cracked down on crime and drugs. We cut taxes to give hardworking Americans a break from Bidenflation. And we empowered parents with universal school choice across the country. Donald Trump was the very first president in my lifetime to take a hard line against China, and I'm proud to be the first and only governor in the country to kick communist China off our farmland and out of my state. President Trump is a leader, and he's the leader our country needs. And if ever there was a doubt, earlier this week, we saw just how tough, resilient, courageous, and daring this man is, and we can't get him back in the White House fast enough. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not called to stand still in the face of great danger. You and I were put on this earth at a moment in time to charge boldly ahead. We cannot know what the future holds, but we know damn sure who holds the future in his hands. God spared President Trump from that assassin because God is not finished with him yet. And he most certainly is not finished with America yet either. With God as our guide and President Trump back in the White House, we will show the world that America is the place where freedom reigns and liberty will never die. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, let us not leave here just excited about a great few days, but let us leave here energized and committed to making sure that we protect our freedom and we have the ability to pass it on to the next generation, because America is the greatest country that the world has ever known, and our kids and our grandkids deserve to enjoy it the way each of us did. And we will, with President Trump back in the White House.
Well, it may not be a surprise that I actually had a very different speech that I was prepared to give up here tonight. That all changed at 6:11 on Saturday evening. Nothing prepares you for a moment like that. Our family has faced our fair share of death threats, mysterious powders sent to our homes, tasteless and violent comments directed towards us on social media, but none of that prepares you as a daughter-in-law to watch in real time someone try to kill a person you love. None of that prepares you as a mother to quickly reach for the remote and turn your young children away from the screen so that they're not witness to something that scars the memory of their grandpa for the rest of their lives. The prayers and well wishes we've received over the last 72 hours have been overwhelming, to say the least. And my heart goes out to the family who lost a husband and a father because of this senseless act. All of you here tonight and watching at home mean the world to all of us in the Trump family. If Donald Trump has shown us anything, it's that when it feels impossible to keep going, those are the times we must keep going. I don't know how many people here watching at home have ever been to a Trump rally, but if you've never been, let me tell you about them. Oh, some of you have been. Oh. Regardless of how the media have painted these rallies, you would be hard-pressed to find and to join a happier group of people coming together over their love for the greatest country on earth, the United States of America. I dare anyone trying to leave a Trump rally without leaving with some new friends. You always make friends out of Trump rally, right? Veterans, teachers, blue-collar workers, white-collar workers, active duty military, police officers, firefighters, small business owners, Latino supporters, Christian supporters, Jewish supporters, black supporters, white supporters, Asian supporters, gay supporters, Republicans, independents, and yes, even Democrats. At a Trump rally, you're not viewed as your profession, your religion, or the color of your skin. You're viewed as one thing: an American. Last Saturday was a jarring reminder that we, as Americans, must always remember: there is more that unites us than divides us. We all want this country to be great, even if we don't always agree on the best way of doing that. And with every bone in my body, I can tell you that all Donald Trump wants to do and has ever wanted to do is make this country great again for all of us. Proverbs 28 reads, "The wicked flee, though no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion." And that truly epitomizes Donald Trump. He is a lion. He is bold, he is strong, he is fearless, and he is exactly what this country needs right now. Let's not forget what life actually looked like under President Donald Trump. Trade deals across the world that benefited our economy, allied countries paying their fair share, a safe and secure southern border, record low unemployment rates for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, and women, record investment in historically black colleges and universities, the creation of the United States Space Force, the most comprehensive prison reform in decades. How about the peace agreements in the Middle East that they said would never happen? The largest tax cuts in American history, our energy independence, massive amounts of red tape cut, and no new wars when Donald J. Trump was president. Maybe, most importantly though, you could actually feel it in your everyday life. Now, you didn't have to love everything that he tweeted, but you cannot deny you were better off when Donald Trump was in office. Americans were finally able to start saving money. Home prices were affordable, and gas hit a low of $1.87 a gallon. As I speak here tonight, many of our fellow Americans don't know how they'll pay for their next trip to the grocery store, new clothes for their children, or this month's rent. Many of our fellow Americans worry that we are on the verge of a major terror attack here on American soil. Many of our fellow Americans don't think their own children will be able to establish a better life than they themselves currently have. Many of our fellow Americans are right now sitting and wondering how on earth this country could have moved in the wrong direction and so quickly. The Democrats and the media know that they cannot convince you, the American people, that your life is better off now, because it's not. So what will they do? They'll try to sell you on some outrageous narrative about the terrible things that Donald Trump will do if he becomes president. But you don't have to imagine what it would be like. All you have to do is remember what it was like. I know. Oh, yeah. I know what you hear out there about Donald Trump. I know what you read, what the media tells you, and what out-of-touch celebrities on the left say about this man. But when I look at Donald Trump, I see a wonderful father, father-in-law, and of course, grandfather to my two young children, Luke and Carolina. I know that I'm lucky enough to get to call him my father-in-law and see him a little differently than all of you. But it's through that lens that I sometimes wish more people could see him. This is a man who has sacrificed for his family and a man who has truly sacrificed for his country. Donald Trump didn't need to run for president for fame or money. Trust me, we all know he already had plenty of that. I'll tell you why he did it and why he continues on, even in the face of the unthinkable. Because he loves this country. He did it for his grandchildren, for your children and grandchildren, and for the generations to come. I have seen this man dragged through hell and back, in and out of courtrooms, indictments, impeachments, mugshots, and even an assassination attempt. And yet, he has never backed down. I'll never forget watching my two children run up to him with their drawings and hugs for Grandpa just moments before he took the elevator down in Trump Tower to address the media the day after his wrongful conviction. Despite everything else he had going on, he had no other focus in the entire world, just a man relishing time with his grandchildren. It's a side of Donald Trump that not enough people get to see. Maybe you got to see a side of Donald Trump on Saturday that you were not sure existed until you saw it with your own eyes. Martin Luther King Jr. once famously said, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of convenience and comfort, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." There's no doubt that Saturday was one of the most frightening moments of my father-in-law's life. Millimeters separated him from life and certain death. And yet, it was in the midst of it all, as he was jostled off stage by Secret Service, that he knew how defining that moment would be for our country, and he hoisted his fist in the air. It was not just for the audience at the rally, not just for his supporters tuning in, but for all of America. And as a signal to the world that no matter what, America will always prevail. Though it's been strained and attacked, no enemy, no force, not even a bullet is strong enough to break our American grit and our American soul. We are the country whose founders gave their fortunes, freedom, and lives to pursue the dream of a free society. We are the country of Thomas Edison, Susan B. Anthony, Henry Ford, and Harriet Tubman. We are the country who fought and won 2 world wars. And we are the country who always rises to meet the moment, no matter how insurmountable the task. And in that split second, on Saturday, Donald Trump reminded us all of that very history and who we are at our core as a nation. That is the Donald Trump that I know. He is an American who conquered the business world, an American who made himself a household name, an American who was beloved by politicians and fellow celebrities for decades until he ran for office with an R next to his name. An American whom even Barack Obama admits people consider the American dream. And instead of sailing off into the sunset after an illustrious real estate and television career, he decided to give back. He decided to bring some of the things that had made him so successful in life to all of you in order to improve the lives of all Americans. Black, white, brown, gay, straight, all Americans, because that's the man that Donald Trump is. I can tell you that my personal experience with Donald Trump has shown me his heart. There wasn't a second that he made this small-town girl who was way out of her element in New York City feel anything but welcomed and part of the family. And if not for the support and encouragement of my father-in-law, I wouldn't be where I am today. It's been said by many that Donald Trump sees things in people that they don't even recognize in themselves. In 2016, when he asked me to help him win my home state of North Carolina, I'll be honest, I was terrified. I had no idea how I would make it happen, but he knew I would, and I did. When I was given an opportunity to join a television network as a commentator, it was the push and support of my father-in-law that gave me the confidence to take that job. Always the first one to call or text me after a TV hit and tell me, "Great job, keep going." Not bad, right? Or even a few months ago, when he called and asked me to be the co-chair of our party, he showed me potential in myself that I couldn't yet see. So tonight, to my father-in-law, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your resilience. Thank you for continuing on. Thank you for raising wonderful kids. Thank you for being an amazing grandfather. Thank you for never giving up on me. And thank you for never giving up on our country. Tonight, I come to you, not as the co-chair of the RNC, not as the daughter-in-law of the candidate. Tonight, I come to you as a mom and as a citizen of this country. For those of you watching who have never voted for Donald Trump, I know what the media and his political opponents have tried to tell you about this man. Believe me, I have seen and heard it all, but I have also seen the truth. I am proud to know Donald Trump, to campaign for him, to vote for him, and to raise his grandchildren. He will do what is necessary to protect you, protect your family, and protect this country. Because Donald Trump wants us all to be successful, to be safe, to be happy, to be strong, and to be great again. Tonight, I'm asking you to vote, not for the Donald Trump you see flashed on your TV every day, splashed across the headlines. Tonight, I'm asking you to vote for the Donald Trump that Luke and Carolina call Grandpa. I'm asking you to vote for the Donald Trump that my husband Eric calls Dad. I'm asking you to vote for the Donald Trump that I call my father-in-law. I'm asking you to vote for the Donald Trump who can and will make America great once again for all of us.
And I am the wife and mother of 4 children. I'm standing here today to share the tragic reality of open borders. I'm here to share the story of my firstborn son, my everything, my Weston. My family and I were living in Southern California when President Biden took office and opened our borders. My Weston was 15. He was an amazing big brother to his 3 younger siblings. Weston attended church twice a week, played football and hockey, and he loved to surf. He had a big heart, and he lived to make people laugh. He had so many good friends. And I was always vigilant to be the best mother that I could be. I was room mom, school ambassador, and I attended all of his sports. We had family dinners and barbecues at the beach. And like most teenagers, Weston wanted to fit in. And in a moment of peer pressure, he tried something that someone gave to him, and it took my baby's life. We did everything right. I had those conversations with him, and fentanyl still found my son. And on February 27th, 2022, our lives were shattered, and our baby was gone. This was not an overdose, it was a poisoning. His whole future, everything we ever wanted for him was ripped away in an instant. And Joe Biden does nothing. I hold Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the border czar, what a joke, and Gavin Newsom and every Democrat who supports open borders responsible for the death of my son. Thank you. And the tens of thousands of American innocent children. For that alone, they should be voted out of office. The highest number of fentanyl deaths during the Biden-Harris administration, and fentanyl is now the #1 killer of Americans ages 18 to 45, and it is quickly becoming the leading cause of death for teens, with 14 and under being the fastest growing demographic. We need President Trump back in office. We need a president who will seal the border, aggressively prosecute drug dealers, and stop Communist China from poisoning our children. This is not a red or blue issue. This is a red, white, and blue issue. And fentanyl doesn't care if you're black or white. It does not discriminate. This is an American issue. We need a president who will call the drug cartels what they are: terrorist organizations. This fight is not for me. My son is gone. This fight is for your children. We owe it to our children to elect a president who will win the war against fentanyl once and for all. It's too late for my son, Weston. Say his name, Joe Biden. Weston. Thank you. Thank you. But we can change this for your children. We need President Trump back to save the lives of our kids.